Hey, there we are. Gonna set up my iPad right in front of me, wait for people to come in. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Don't know if we'll have anybody in today. People are probably out with mom. But this is important. We're going to keep this going. We're going to keep this Nancy Guthrie case relevant. Hey, Kathy. Just setting up the goal here on the iPad. Hey, Jewel. How you doing? Happy Mother's Day, everybody. If you're a mom, I'm a mom, but I'm a fur baby mom. So does that count? I think so. Okay, now we're set up. Oh, I already have 2 thumbs up and I just got started. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, we just have a couple of things to talk about today regarding this case. It's very important that when we learn that things have changed or that things have been corrected, we need to correct those things. Like when I mentioned the property taxes, but I said, hey, the check could be in the mail, and then the following Monday it shows up on the computer that sure enough it showed up and they backdated it. In regards to Annie Tomaso. So yeah, I'm just going to give it a few minutes for people to come in. People might still be out with mom. I watched a terrible baseball game today. Now we got 7 people in. Let's get it up a little bit more. Thank you for the 4 thumbs up. And I always say this, but I really mean it. We're going to try to make this short because there's only so much we can talk about with this, especially it being day number 99. Can't believe I'm saying that to you guys. Day number 99. Oh, thank you for the red hearts. Hey, 27 people. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. I'm April Davis, PI, and I'm live from Los Angeles, California. I am a licensed California private investigator, and I've been doing a true crime series on missing 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, the mother of today co-host Savannah Guthrie. Yeah, I can't even believe it. I say this every video. I can't even believe it. It's day number 99. Hey, Jonathan, thank you so much. I'm a fur baby, mama. So anyway, there's something that needs to be clarified because several people, actually a few people, had written in comments a couple nights ago that, hey, did you hear this interview between Sergeant Cross of the Pima County Sheriff's and Brian Inton? Because now he is saying that Annie and Tommaso told them at the house after the 911 call that they thought it was a walk away rather than, an abduction, kidnapping, whatever it is. And oh, hey, Jay. But I was like, can somebody prove this? Like, I heard that, yeah, there was an interview between him and Brian Ninton, and I did find a podcast online. Hey, Kathy Maury, welcome in. There was a podcast recently between Brian Inton. You can hear it on like iHeartRadio, and this guy who's like the head of the union at the Pima County Sheriff's Department, and he's one of those bananos haters who's like, they don't agree. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum on everything. And everybody's been saying to me, like, oh, yeah, he said that. He said that Annie Tomaso said that it was a walk away. And I've never heard that before. And I'm not saying that the guy didn't say it. I'm not calling anybody here a liar. I'm not calling anybody out. But I have not actually heard those words come out of anybody's mouth yet. And now today, there's this big uproar about that alleged statement, whether he said it or he didn't say it or he implied it or he meant it. They're now saying that there was a miscommunication and that what he was really saying or meant to say is that maybe there was some sort of a medical emergency. They all thought perhaps there was some type of maybe a medical intervention in the middle of the night because the back doors were found open and they were propped open with those planters. And they thought perhaps she had been removed on a stretcher, like from the back. I know that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Uh, but that's what he meant to say, or did say, or implied to say. Because remember, I have not heard the conversation yet between him and Brian Enton where he allegedly, reportedly said, hey, Annie and Tommaso tried to convince the police, the deputies on the scene that first arrived after that 911 call that, we think mom just walked away. And then many, many hours later, Savannah was called in and she asked, did you check the hospitals? And Annie said, we already did that. And then supposedly she spoke to the police and said, oh, no, she would have never just walked away. She was so disabled. Some days she couldn't even make it to the mailbox because of her back. She was very immobile. But then others, her friends have come forward and said, well, she wasn't as immobile as everybody thinks she was because she could still drive. At least during the day, she would drive and she could still get around. Stinky, my grandpa asked you if you were still having. Oh my gosh. Don't say hi to people like that, Kathy. We have to take them out. Oh my gosh. People got nothing better to do on a holiday Sunday. Thank you, Kathy. I didn't see that part. I just saw hi Stinky and I'm like, oh, who did I miss? The joys of monetization. So anyway, I don't know if the guy said it. He didn't say it. If somebody could send me the interview where the guy actually said that originally Annie and Tommaso had stated that they thought it was a walkaway, because apparently now he's either retracted his statement or he's saying he was misunderstood or there's been a miscommunication in the press, but that they thought perhaps there was a medical situation. And I do remember Savannah talking about that in her interview that she did with Hoda Kotb before she actually returned to the Today Show. She had returned to New York and she went there to visit the Today Show. And she had an interview, which I thought, by the way, was horrible. Everybody thought that interview was horrible from a production standpoint, from a Hoda standpoint, with the fake tears and, and all the grunts. And it was just bad. It was bad. Micah, hello, Micah. Welcome in. Angela, I'm in Los Angeles, but my green screen is Tucson because we're talking about missing Nancy Guthrie. So everybody, whatever he got to hit mute on my TV. Whatever he said or didn't say or tried to say or backtracked it has now been corrected. I would still love to see the interview to see what his words were. But apparently this big story that's been blowing up the last 24 to 48 hours said, oh my God, Annie and Tommaso tried to mislead the police and say that they thought she was just like a missing senior, like it was a senior alert. Hey, Rita, that's not true at all. That's not what was implied. But here's another kicker to this. Supposedly when the deputies got to the scene, they didn't discover the blood right away. Kathy Romero, they weren't fake tears, lady. Crazy. I guess you didn't see the interview, Kathy Romero. Somebody also said that they weren't fake, but that the teardrops couldn't actually fall due to Botox. And I hadn't thought about that. It could have been a Botox situation. Hearts of Gold Prospecting. Good evening, all. Good evening, Hearts. Happy Mother's Day. Yeah, like people said they were either faked or the second possibility is that Hoda's tears couldn't come out because she had so much Botox treatment, which is possible. Those newscasters, they've all got the surgeries. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. So apparently what was reported between Thursday, Friday, Saturday about this alleged statement of this Sergeant Cross, it either is not true or it was misstated or misunderstood. If somebody can send me the link, my email is aprildavispi@gmail.com, so we can try to straighten it out further, but that's not what was said. Just like when I came on and did a live on Friday, May 1st. Remember, that was delinquency day in Pima County, Arizona for property tax. And on that day, Annie and Tommaso's property came up delinquent and they added a 16% interest. But I said that very day, perhaps their check is in the mail or it's in the mail room or it's sitting on somebody's desk and people have all paid at the last minute, and they just haven't updated the computer because everything is supposed to be updated by 5 p.m. Uh, that business day, and that computer wasn't updated until Monday, May 4th. And then they backdated their payment to April 29th. So it probably was a situation like that. Yes, exactly, Kathy, whether it be a human or fur baby. Yeah, I'm a mama to fur babies. I've always been a fur baby mama. So, but I do have two sponsored Thai kids, but they're all grown up now and they have their own lives and one has their own children. So yeah, says Hearts. So that's we just, when there's a correction or there's an assumption, we have to say this is reported or this is alleged or this is an assumption made by so and so. But, just like when one large YouTuber kept saying that Nancy's account was um, late, past due, or maybe even delinquent. Well, it was past due the March 2nd date, but it wasn't delinquent because somebody paid her property tax on April 15th. And we talked about that. Like, you know, don't believe everything you hear on the internet. And things do get misreported and misconstrued, as apparently whatever this guy, Sergeant Cross, said to Brian Enton, there was some mass confusion over it. So, no, apparently he didn't say or did not mean to say that Annie Tomaso reported her case as a simple walk away. No. But now, because of this, they are saying that when police arrived, that the blood wasn't discovered right away. Now, when they say not right away, do they mean upon arrival? Did they actually do a walk around the property to look for her to see if, maybe she fell or God forbid, is lying in the bottom of the swimming pool? Did they come in a side door, a back door? Did they come through the garage? Why was the blood at the front porch not discovered right away? She's got one of those kind of U-shaped driveways that goes a few steps from the front door. I don't know why that wasn't checked right away. But maybe people that have access to the house, they're used to coming through the garage. Maybe Annie Tomaso have a clicker and they just drove into the garage and came in through that way. Or maybe they went through a back gate and opened a back door to the kitchen. I don't know. Apparently there's 5 or 6 entrances to the house, but they didn't see the blood right away. And apparently the cops didn't either. Um, Jay says, worked at a bank 10 years. Usual updates were midnight. Yeah, for banking, that's true. But for things like with the county, it's usually the end of business day. So for Pima County Treasurer, the cutoff date, the end of business day was 5. But as far as the payment being due, it had to be there before midnight May 1st, and that county had not checked that payment in. But then they later did check it in on Monday, May 4th. It was updated before 5 p.m. and they're like, okay, we backdated it to April 29th. Um, Deposits for businesses could be done until 6. Yeah, for banks, sure. But this was like, did they receive the check? And then, you got to realize for a treasurer for the county, you know how many people live in Tucson? I mean, it's not big like LA or New York, but probably a lot of people sent their property tax checks the very last second. And I said it's probably something like that. And, but they all go home at 5. So it didn't get updated until 3 days later. But I always correct that. I always say if there's, a correction or there was misinformation or just because, someone had reported about Nancy and that they confirmed it, but it wasn't true. It was just one of those clickbaity kind of things, and I'm like, no, that's not the case because I checked Nancy all the way back to 2019 because that's as far as the computer online goes back for the public to see because that is public information. Just like if somebody buys a house, sells a house, the grant deeds, the trust deeds, warranty deeds, all types of property information is public information. And you can check any county in the United States, and most of that those records today are online, which is a very big help to our industry that we have a starting point. Because when I started the PI business and I lived in LA County where there was what 50 some different, I think now there's 90 some different court districts. Like you had to go down to downtown and start in these big buildings and go from building to building to building just to do your microfilm and your hot sheet check because there was no computers, there was no internet. Like it was a nightmare back in the day to have to find a document. But now you can just go online and type things in. And but most online websites for records will only go so many years back. um, Kathy Mowry says that wouldn't have made sense. She wouldn't have been able to walk away without her devices or meds. Exactly. Especially since Savannah said they thought that she didn't even have her shoes and her purse, her wallet, her car keys, her cell phone, her Apple Watch, and supposedly her hearing aids, which meant she wouldn't have been able to hear anything, were all left at the scene. Um, yeah. So that report that people kept writing me, like, did you hear about this? Did you hear about what Sergeant Cross said? I kept saying, can you send me like a link? And they said, oh, it was an interview with Brian Enton. I saw a podcast last night. Didn't have time to hear the whole thing, but I read the transcripts and I couldn't find anything in those transcripts where he made that statement. So I don't know if Brian Enton said something. I don't know how it got out to the press that, allegedly this guy said this, that he didn't, but now he's backtracking or he's saying, no, that's not what I said. It's a misunderstanding. So it was exactly like what Savannah said in her interview, which I do still say was a train wreck. That interview that she did with Hoda Kotb. From a production standpoint, yes, it was a train wreck. Now I know that Hoda was probably told, don't ask Savannah this, this, or this. But basically, Savannah just did the talking and Hoda just, she couldn't like take something that Savannah said and ask further questions. So they just should have never done that. It was, and they were probably just trying to get a ratings boost. I don't think it helped the case at all. Now, there's another piece of information that's come out. And once again, it's on the internet and it says something about Fox News. And I don't watch Fox News. But it says, wow, Pima County Sheriff's Chris Nanos told Fox News Digital on Friday that the multi-agency task force is making real progress in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, the 84-year-old mother of NBC's Today co-host Savannah Guthrie. That's possible. I didn't see that. When asked if investigators are closer to solving the abduction nearly 100 days later, Nanos replied, we are, describing recent developments as really great without providing further details. Now, could this statement be connected to why? I think was it last Thursday? Does anybody remember when Savannah got called away again during a live broadcast of the Today Show? And they cut to a commercial, and then her co-host had to say, well, Savannah had to leave a little early, but she'll be back tomorrow. La 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 la. That's happened twice now. And one time, the first time, she was getting ready to do a big, movie star interview, and all of a sudden, she was just out of there. And then they showed her for just a second, like a clip at the end. So this happened twice now, and the second time it happened was last week, where she suddenly was very suddenly called away. And I think they have like the little headsets on, and somebody said like, "Hey, Savannah, you know, there's some sort of code word that they have for her when she has to leave set because, maybe she has to take an important phone call, you know, from the sheriff or from the FBI or something regarding her mother." So, right after that happened, then this supposed interview between Nanos and Fox News, where he only said a couple of words. Just we are describing, he just said, we are, when asked if investigators are closer to solving the case nearly 100 days later. And he just said, we are. And then describing recent developments as really great. So I didn't hear this, but, supposedly, that's what he said. Now, based on his history and his constantly changing stories and revising timeline, I take everything that he said with a grain of salt. Jay said, Hoda unprofessional, couldn't keep it together, probably for views. There was not a tear that came out of her eye. In fact, she picked up a tissue and was wiping her makeup, not dry tears. There were no tears. You know, my mom used to call them crocodile tears because I had a sister that was like all the time when she was, she's still like that today, but like and my parents would just be like, oh, crocodile tears. Or my mom would say, oh, just let her have it so she'll shut up. And that was a very bad thing to do as a parent. I'm sorry. I know it's Mother's Day. My mother's in heaven, but you know, they were fake tears. And then someone here actually said, there's a possibility that she really was crying, but that her eyes were so like swollen from Botox that like the tear ducts were clogged and the tears wouldn't come out. Brian Ray, we're talking about Nancy Guthrie, day number 99. Uh, Kathy says, Hoda has never been able to keep together with everything. I know who she is and that she was, a hostess for years on the show, and then she had recently left, and then all this happened with Savannah. But I hadn't watched the Today Show in years. That's why I wasn't aware that uh, I didn't even know who Savannah Guthrie's mom was. Like, obviously, I know who Savannah Guthrie is and know a lot about her career, all the way back to Court TV and her being a lawyer. Uh, Ash Cash, how are you doing? Hello. Are you related to Johnny Cash by any chance? Boston Bill, didn't see you come in. How you doing, my friend? So yeah, so we have to take everything we hear in the media with a grain of salt, because if I didn't hear it and I didn't confirm it, I believe it when you guys come in and tell me stuff, but I've also had people come into my chat saying, oh, did you hear breaking news? Tommaso Cioni was just arrested and he was taken away in handcuffs. No, he wasn't. Or someone came in the other night and challenged me and basically called me a liar, saying that, well, didn't you know that Savannah quit the Today Show? And it was like, no, she didn't. Like, she had to walk away from the desk at the end of, last Thursday's episode or whatever it was to probably take a phone call regarding this. But she didn't quit. I mean, she's under contract, Oh, it's just a nickname, says Ash. Where are you coming in from? Oh, Boston Bill says, I was away for 6 days. I volunteered at the VA hospital. Well, congratulations, Bill. That's a very nice thing for you to do. Ohio. I'm in Los Angeles, California. Now, the picture in the background, that's just a green screen of Tucson. But there's not a lot of new news. But I wanted to clear that up about the information from Sergeant Cross because I never said that he said that. But people here in my chat and people sending comments to me were saying that he had said that about Annie and Tommaso, saying that she was a walkaway. And I was suspicious of it because I was like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't mesh with what Savannah said. Uh, Jay says she's still asleep. It's beautiful, the back view. Yeah, that's a view of the desert in Tucson, Arizona. Just because we're trying to keep the Nancy Guthrie case relevant, like not just myself and my channel, but everybody that comes to join me every day. Um, no, Brian, where have you been, Brian? I'm not laughing at you, man, but I thought they had already found Nancy Guthrie's body a couple of months ago. No, not at all. Now there was another Nancy that was 82. Oh, Kathy, thank you so much. You are the first hype of the day, my dear. There was another Nancy in the neighborhood, but a different last name who was 82. And she lived like in or near the same neighborhood as Nancy. And she was missing for like a day or less. And they found her, but they didn't find 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Hey, Jamie James. I wish. I wish. Happy bunny cat mommy. Thank you, Arizona Desert Walker. Yeah, the cat is harassing her now because the cat's been taking a nap all day, and now she's decided that, now that I'm live and there's 38 people here, that she needs some wet food. Is my mod still here? Hearts, are you still here? You hear that? Let me show her to you. This is my little baby. I wish I could show you the bunny, but she doesn't like to be picked up. But she is letting me pick her up now sometimes when she's near my feet, and I can show you her back in. Your family, my man has family in Pomona. Yeah, that's about 45 minutes to an hour from here, depending on traffic. Hearts, can you run the chat for just 30 seconds or less while I get her a can of wet cat food? There you go. Here, baby. Here's your kitty food, my little baby girl. Yeah, you can have that. There's your wet food. Of course, now that I did that, the bunny's going to give me the stink eye. It's a little early for her to eat. Thank you for running the chat, Hearts. Uh, P6, we're not going to deal with stuff like that today. See ya in 24 hours. Jay says a headache as usual. Brian Ray. Oh, what's that little emoji? That's cute. What is it? Looks like a popcorn bucket. What is that? Those are cute, whatever they are. Thank you. Let's see. Oh, it's popcorn. That's what I thought it was. It looked like a popcorn bucket. Oh, but see, I saw looked like a little smiley face in it. That's why I was like, "What's that?" Smiling popcorn, I guess it is. Kathy says she heard from her two sons today. Well, I hope so. Where is Nancy? Says Arizona Desert Walker. God, don't we wish we knew? I still, don't anticipate the FBI contacting me on my tip about front porch guy. And then the longer it goes, there's more evidence that points towards the tip that I gave the FBI. But I'm not investigating the case, so they could know something obviously that I don't know. I'm sorry, Jay. I know that can be rough. 24/7 for 15 plus years. Ouch. Why would anybody kidnap her? Well, that's a very good question, Brian, because it may not actually be a kidnapping. This whole, you know, these ransom notes, they could all be red herrings. We don't know yet. But I've said all along, revenge or money, it's either related to Savannah because, she is the mother of a celebrity, Nancy being the mother of Savannah Guthrie, or it's somebody very close to her. Ash Cash says, we went to California a couple years ago. You mean Venice Beach? Hart says, I still go with revenge, but who really knows? I know, because it's not a typical kidnapping, is it? Especially with them being, hey, you got your food right there. There it is. What you gonna whine about now? Oh my gosh, what is going on? Oh, my baby. Now Bunny's still giving me stink eye. I will come back in buffering here. Oh, okay. Is anybody else buffering? It's fine on my end. Yeah, Brian Ray says the notes was always weird or something weird to me. Absolutely. But yet Savannah said that the FBI told her that they thought the first two were legit. And I'm still freaked out about the ransom text because how did Derek Kalala, also known as Derek Kaya, who is associated with the same band promoter as Tommaso, Secret Mutilator and what is it, Early Dark or Early Black? Which is it? Tommaso's band. They have the same promoter. And, that guy just happened to have both Annie and Tommaso's private cell numbers and said, hey, what about the Bitcoin? I'm ready to complete the transaction. Like, huh? Like, was he talking to somebody he already knew? Remember, you got to see the video that I put up. I keep saying this, I keep beating this into the ground, but everybody watch that video, even if you have to see it again. The suspect video, it's on my video tab. It's not in the live tab, it's in the video tab. Because you got all these yahoos, actors, characters, whatever you want to call them in the soap opera, and they all seem to be connected through the 6 degrees of separation. And I'm like, dang, it seems like everybody in Tucson knows everybody. It's got to be a town smaller than I thought. But then we had a neighbor of Nancy's come in here who actually knows Savannah, who's like, you know, Tucson's actually a lot bigger than you think. I mean, it's not LA kind of big, but it's big. I go with the son in law just a hunch, says Brian. You know, everybody here is innocent until proven guilty, but everybody feel free to, post in the chat where you think Nancy is and who do you think is behind it. Uh, Brian, my mother always said the Savannah sister and brother in looks and acts weird. They do act weird. There's this story, and I can't confirm this either, that they're Wiccans. I can't confirm that Annie is a witch. People say that she is, and that February the 1st, that full moon, was a Wiccan holiday, the biggest Wiccan holiday of the year. But are they a member of the cult? I don't know. But, he does play creepy music. His best friend and bandmate is allegedly a convicted felon. You know, um, Apples and oranges when it comes to the two sisters. But supposedly, according to Savannah, they were the caregivers. And if you believe anything that Sheriff Nano says, the family's been cleared. But in an active, I'm calling this a homicide investigation now. I'm not calling it a kidnapping. I'm calling it a homicide investigation. Uh, Nobody's cleared until they're cleared. The FBI hasn't said they're cleared. They haven't said a word. Ash Cash, I agree. I find it very weird that he knew Tommy and Annie's phone number. Yeah, and people were telling me like, "Oh, you can buy that off the internet on Been Verified." Well, a lot of those records that you buy off the internet that don't come from actual PI databases, because I'm a PI, so I'm an expert on this. A lot of those databases where just the public can go in and they can buy stuff for, $10 or $20. That's all outdated information. Sure, I have over 100 videos, Ash Cash, on just this subject alone. Now, how many videos do I have total on here? Maybe 500 or 600? What is wrong, kitty? Here's your food. What is wrong, baby girl? Oh my God. And she's like, oh, it was a Wiccan date. Nancy went missing. A note that Annie wrote with Savannah and Tom and Annie. You mean the note that she delivered to the memorial out in front of the house just before Savannah went back to New York, where she talked about burning embers? Yeah, I am a PI. I started February 24th, 1984 as a PI in training. I got my license on August 6th, 1992. I started my business last quarter of 1995, but it didn't really start rolling, till like maybe towards the latter part of the 90s, early 2000s. It started to grow really big because I was just tired of working for other people. And then at my 35-year full-time mark, I had to basically, stop 99% of my work due to stage 3 breast cancer. And then when I started to recover from that, then I started to suffer the side effects, including a heart ailment. So, my business is still technically open, but I am a severely disabled person now. I was born in 1983. That's awesome. I love learning like true crime. Wow, 1983, you're just a baby here. We got a lot of old people like me watching this channel. But welcome in, Ashcash from Ohio. Yeah, I've seen it all. And this, if this is a kidnapping, this is the only kidnapping like this that I've ever heard of. But my first thought when I heard about this, I heard about this the day that it happened, on the night that it happened on Sunday evening here in Los Angeles. I was laying in bed and I read about it and I was like, oh my God, like the mother of Savannah Guthrie. And I immediately went to some of my cases in my career, like, oh, the mother of a celebrity. Uh, since you're a PI, do you Magnum PI? Nope. Nothing you see on TV or in the movies about PIs is real. Couldn't be further from the truth. That's all fictional BS. No Ferrari, no mustache, as Jay says. Yeah. We are professional information gatherers, but we are licensed professional information gatherers. It takes a lot of years to be a PI. In fact, the years that I just trained to be a PI, I could have gone to medical school. And then once I got my license, I still worked for another company for another 3 years. In that amount of time, had I completed my undergraduate degree, I would have been able to go to law school. So I could have become a doctor, an undergraduate, a doctor, and a lawyer in the time that I just trained before I started my own business. And then you have to have millions of dollars in insurance, a business license, a professional license, be a member of a professional organization, yada, 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 yada. And then even after that, you never stop learning. I am back. Grabbed a protein bar. That sounds good. I could use one of those right now, Kathy. What is your thoughts about the sister and brother-in-law are in on the kidnapping? Well, because I'm sort of a professional YouTuber now, although I always joke that I'm not, but I do actually have a check coming this month. For the first time in a long time. I have to be very careful what I say here publicly. And I will tell you that everybody here that we discuss, they're all innocent until proven guilty. Now, if you've watched all my videos or you plan on watching them, you'll see that I mentioned many times that I don't like the body language of the brother-in-law and the sister, especially when they came out of the house in Annie's car with the hoodies over their heads and they were like, don't look at me, because I've interviewed thousands of people in my career, and their actions on that day show deception and shame. Not to even mention some of the looks and eye movements that were in the interview with Savannah, where she had the sibling sitting next to her. It wasn't really an interview, it was just a recorded, prepared statement. But Ash Cash says, "Yay, I'm proud of you." Thank you. Yeah, my actual career started quite by accident. I mean, I was preparing to be a police officer, but I had super bad eyes. I've since had 4 surgeries. I don't need glasses or contacts at all, but I have to have readers now because I can see a plane that comes over from Anchorage every day going to Guadalajara, and I'm in Los Angeles. I can see that sucker at 40,000 feet and count the engines on the wings. That's how far I can see now because of all my surgeries. But because of that, I have no close up vision whatsoever. So my eyesight derailed my plans for a law enforcement career, and I just was going to do PI work temporarily. In fact, I'd never even thought of that. It was actually a suggestion from my mother. May she rest in peace. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. Because she saw an ad about a PI school, and she was like, this could be right up your alley. And I didn't want to do it. But on top of being in college full time and adding that to my plate, I did it. Uh, it is harder to become a PI than a doctor or a lawyer. You know, and it's hard to be a doctor, and I'd be a terrible doctor. I would never make it through the first year of medical school because they have to be awake all the time. They never sleep. Um, I could go to, if I were younger, I could go to law school, and I think I would hope I could pass that bar the first time. And to take the PI test in my state at the time that I took it, it was like passing the bar exam, and I passed it. Um, I could have become a doctor and a lawyer because I trained for 11 years. And that was just to then say, okay, I'm going to hang my shingle now. But, it was like starting over again because you have to build the clientele. And also, in my PI career, when I worked with other companies, I also worked uh, under their PPO license as in. So I've done like guard work and bodyguard work a little bit, a lot of celebrity stuff. In fact, that's how I started. Let's see. Kathy Mowry. Have you heard that Nancy's pacemaker was cut out of her chest? No. Where did you hear that? Hart says, no, I did not hear that her pacemaker was cut out of her chest. Brian Way, as a PI, what's the weirdest case you've ever worked on that I can talk about? That's a tough question. Probably like stalkers that take on double identities that live double lives. Those are weird. Where they have like schizophrenic personalities and they have their real life and then they have their life involving the person they're stalking. But there's two separate lives going. Ash Cash. I would love to be a PI. I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. It's the hardest thing that you'll ever do. I'd say if you could go to medical school or law school, especially law school, do that instead. Uh, Probably more AI, says Kathy Mowry. I would have done great. My dad made a remark, but it was kind of a snide remark. My dad was a raging alcoholic, a-hole, excuse me, but very violent man. Was brought up in a very violent household. And he said one day when I was just a little kid, he said, you should grow up and be a lawyer. Then you could screw the American public out of 250,000 a year. I have no idea why he said it. I was like, huh? He'd probably been drinking. Yep. Yeah, I got out early. As soon as I turned 18, I was out the door. So I did have some college, but not a lot because I really needed to go to work. And I was preparing to go to the LAPD Police Academy. I was even trained by LAPD firearms specialists with my Administration of Justice Club pistol team that I was involved in with my little local community college. But yep, they didn't have any type of surgeries that would have been able to fix my eyes back then. Uh, I have seen a lot in California. I think you have too much just random. What does that mean? No, that's a rumor. Oh, regarding the pacemaker? Sorry, too much intuition to not have done what you have done. Pacemaker cutout would need a very specific knowledge of case. Have they ever thought of a psychos? I don't know. So yeah, I did not become a lawyer. In fact, I did go to college. I've been to 3 different colleges actually, plus a detective school, which I did graduate top of my class from the detective school, and I also graduated early from high school at age 16. I graduated a month and 2 months early, and that's a long story. But I graduated high school early. I had to get a consent form signed by my parents to start college early, and I started taking criminal justice classes. But I was just gearing to have enough credits to get like an AA in criminal justice, but out here they call it administration of justice, so that I could join the LAPD. But that didn't happen. My eye doctor said, you'll never pass because I was 2400, but correctable 2020. And what's really sad is that you don't even have to be correctable 20 to 20 or 2020 to get in. You could have 20/40 vision, which is really crappy vision, and still get in. But what they care about is if your glasses got knocked off or somebody reached into your eyeballs and flicked out those contacts. Like, would you just pull out your gun and start shooting people? Like, no. It's a dumb rule. And they don't have any vision roles like anymore, I don't think most departments. And people said like, well, if you wait 20 to 25 years, they'll probably, you know, um, lighten the rules. Well, how am I going to eat? I'm 18 and I'm going to be, I, I don't have much help coming in from the parents. I've got to be able to pay rent in Los Angeles and have a car in Los Angeles and pay for groceries in LA and utilities. Like, no, I'm going to just have to like start my career early. Psychic is what he was saying, not psychos. Okay. Have they ever thought of a psychic? They may have, but if they have, they haven't talked about it publicly. Ash says, that's awesome. You have a great knowledge. Well, thank you, Ash. You should watch. If you're interested in true crime, you can go to the true crime playlist, or if you're interested just specifically in Nancy Guthrie, then go to the Nancy Guthrie playlist, or look at all my playlists. Go to my main channel page, check out my links, check out my channel page. Brian, I'm sure they have thought about psychics. It wouldn't hurt. There are some psychics that are supposedly legit. Oh, thank you, Ash. I hope you are subscribed, and I hope everybody watching right now. I've got 30 people watching this very moment, and I keep forgetting to remind you to hit the thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up. And what does my goal say? Why is this telling me to start another goal? Okay, you know what? I'm going to change it entirely. And we'll just say, we'll start a gift goal instead. Okay, because those can be, hold on. There we go. Almost lost my screen. Those can be given for free. So, thank you so much, Ash Cash. It's funny, I asked you if you were related to Johnny Cash because when I used to do Whatnot shows, I had some lady came in and her last name was Cash, and I'm like, "Are you related to Johnny Cash?" And she was like, "Well, actually, I kinda am. He's my husband's distant cousin or something." I was like, "Oh, wow." And she came in from Tennessee. Uh, you were on yesterday, and it was interesting. Thank you, Brian. Oh, I remember you because there was 2 Brians in here yesterday. It's getting so confusing now because we have so many Sues and Susans, and we have so many Karens and so many Kellys. And now we have a Sandra and a Sandy. And these are some of the regulars. But I've never seen Ash Cash until today. I am not a believer along as common sense and intuition. Yeah, most of the time. Yeah, you can go down the spirit box rabbit hole or the psychic medium rabbit hole and just listen to that stuff all day long, and they're all going to tell you something different. But there are people that are brought in, like that lady in Houston that does the sketches. Yeah. And she might be point on with that sketch that she did. And the guy's wearing a mask, but she's got a really good sketch. Rita Close says, I'm still saying family. It's very possible, or maybe not at all. Joe Mack, good evening from the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, USA. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're doing too, Joe Mack. I think you've been in here before. Some are gifted. My bestie from years ago, her name is Carol. She pushed me to go to a psychic when I was like 20 and I didn't want to do it. And the lady said that someday in the future, I was going to have my own business. And she had no idea how old I was. I looked like I was still in probably junior high school, even though I was like 20. I would have my own business someday. And I laughed. I thought that was the funniest thing I had ever heard. Even when I was doing PI trainee work, and people said, "Well, someday, you'll have enough, where you'll want to go get your license." I'm like, "Yeah, I guess I'll get it someday, but I'm not in a hurry because I don't plan on starting my own company. Like, that's just too far beyond my reach." And here we are. Matthew Tupper, how is everything? I'm doing good. How are you, Matt? Yeah, you might want to go back to the replay and then you can see what we talked about in the beginning because we had to correct some of the information that had been relayed yesterday, supposedly by this sergeant, this Sergeant Cross. Ash Cash says, "This case, I pray we will get answers. It's touched me since day two. I saw it online." Yes, I saw it the night of Sunday, February 1st, and being a Hollywood PI, the first thing that went through my mind was like, oh my God, somebody got Savannah Guthrie's mom. Not that, oh, somebody went and got this woman, Nancy Guthrie, and who is Nancy Guthrie? It was like, oh no, somebody went and took Savannah Guthrie's mother. And at first, when I started hearing about the evidence before they talked about everything, I thought, my gosh, she may have even, been killed in the house. But then when I heard about the oxygenated blood at the front door and the fact that the pacemakers she would have to be about 30 feet away from her devices for it to stop sinking. And when it stopped sinking, she still had a heartbeat. Then I realized, like, ooh, oh boy, she was alive. She was alive, when they took her. And now it looks like that at the front door, she may have fought back and they either hit her or struck her, God forbid, with a pistol or a weapon, but something happened to her face. And with her heart conditions that were known, that the families actually discussed, I would assume that she might have been taking a blood thinner. So, and she didn't, they didn't take her meds. And now there's this rumor going around that she didn't take the doses from Saturday night, which I don't know if that's true or not true. But I'm telling you, for my own heart problems that were caused by my cancer treatment, that I can't I can't live, I start having problems, like serious problems, if I miss just one dose, like, because sometimes they've had to take me off stuff before surgery and I've almost been dead. Like, um, and I've actually told the doctor that right before I've gone under, like, oh my God, thank God I made it down here because I'm almost dead. Like, you will go quick without those drugs. So why wouldn't a kidnapper have taken that with them, especially if they were in the house for 41 minutes and all of her drugs were lined up right out on the kitchen counter, apparently? Why didn't they take those if they needed to keep her alive for proof of life? Uh, let's see. Ash says, "Oh my God, when they first showed the masked person scared me. I got chills." Yeah, Ash, and even though I'm not working this case as an investigator, I'm simply reporting it. Uh, I From the second week of February, I've had a very strong suspicion as to who the masked man, or front porch guy as they call him. Okay, my printers just went off by itself. Like, my cat's nowhere near my desk, and my 6x4 printer just went off by itself. Okay, ghost. What was I saying? I totally lost my track, my train of thought. Whatever I was saying. Can anybody remind me what I was just saying? Made me jump because the cat had already gone to the bedroom and I heard that thing go off and I was like, whoa, what just happened? It just spit a label out and sucked the label back in and nobody touched it. So I totally lost my train of thought. Jay said, psychic told my mom she'd have 3 kids, 1 marriage, blah, blah, 3 marriages, 1 kid. The only psychic I ever saw said that I would have my own business someday. Oh, and she also thought I was going to be wealthy through the letter L, and that the letter L was a person, place, or thing. And I am not wealthy. Jay said she just got the number switched. or Jay, she just got the number switched, says Kathy. The creepy masked man. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ash. Like, that literally made me jump. Oh, okay. The masked man. I do think there's a possibility that I know who that is. I'm not investigating this case in any way. I have called my tip into the FBI, not once, but twice. And the longer this has gone, especially when the third set of ransom notes came in, because there was the first 2 that went to the news and TMZ, then there were the text ransoms, but then there was the Bitcoin guy ransom. Okay. And there's certain things that are in those notes that relate to things that I already know about through a suspect that I have. Now, I don't think it's a single person. I think it's a group. And I think the guy at the front door is not he's not the leader of the group. He's not the primary. He's not the master planner here or the puppet master, as the police call him. He's just what I call one of the worker bees. There's the queen bee, there's the worker bee. There's the mastermind that's planned all this, and then there's the people that may have gone out and done this. I think there's at least two people. There could be more involved, but it is creepy. But it's just because of the mask. The mask, you know, if you saw the guy without the mask, you wouldn't be that creeped out. Adam says, I can speak Greek. Jay, still wrong. Still wrong about what? What did I miss? Kathy says, I still see Tommaso's eyes in the mask. The guy that, I don't know how tall Tommaso is, but his body doesn't fit the description of the guy at the front porch. But we haven't seen Tommaso that many times. We usually just see like pictures of his face. But he seems not the right size to me. Hi, Will Byers. Welcome in. Here's another Kathy. Catherine, how you doing? Some people are saying it's Nanos the sheriff. Once again, people, if you're new here and we're done with this video, just take the time. It'll only take about 20 minutes of your time. Go over to my long form content videos and you'll see a recent one that's on the Nancy Guthrie case and the suspects. And they're not listed in order of like, this was the top suspect and this is the bottom. They're just listed in the order that their names came out since this case started. Agree about the body type. Why Nano, says Jay. Ash Cash, he was too comfortable. Absolutely, the person was comfortable. Everybody that's involved with this in the house was too comfortable. Kidnappers, they're almost like bank robbers. Like a bank robber, you got to get out in 2.5 minutes, or you've been there too long. A kidnapping, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and you've got to be out, and you've got to have your target, and you've got to have all the resources with you to keep her alive. Food, water, clothing, shoes, hearing aids, medication. Because you're going to conduct a business transaction, and at some point, very early on in the game, you're going to leave the ransom at the place of the crime, or you're going to send it to the family, or even ship it to the mailbox. But yet, everybody was touching the mailbox, the front door, the front porch, the pathway up to the house where everybody was stepping on the crime scene. It's just been ridiculous. Thank you, Ash. She says, I will for sure. He's too short. Nanotechnology, in my opinion. They took over 20 minutes. They were actually, between the time that the front doorbell, the Nest doorbell cam was compromised, and the time that the pacemaker unsynced, 41 minutes had passed. Nanos is too short. Oh, shorter than the front porch guy? Yeah, I don't, how tall is Nanos? He does have similar eyes, by the way, but I don't think he's front porch guy. But it's weird that he seems that he's done everything to mess up this case. Because nobody can be that friggin' stupid. No law enforcement officer can be that friggin' stupid and release a crime scene in 20 hours and then didn't even let the FBI in until 4 days, and then decided that, that he's going to be an arrogant you-know-what, and he was going to use his lab where they have to pay for it, rather than just have the FBI, who had a plane, a fixed-wing aircraft at the airport ready to take the evidence to Quantico, and they've lost 12 weeks of time just messing around in Florida. And apparently the Florida lab is good, but they don't have the same equipment that the FBI has, nor do they have access to the lab in San Francisco that has the technology to look into a rootless hair. And that hair, it could mean nothing. Um, Ash Cash, that's true. He messed this case up from day one. From day one. And now for him to make this statement on Friday about the multitask, blah, 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 like he's not cooperating with anybody. I heard that, what was it, over a month ago that the sheriff's department had shut down their tip line. And the FBI, I'm telling you from experience, when you call them, they don't want to talk to you unless you know where the body is. Or where's Nancy? That's all they care. Where's Nancy? If you don't know, they're not talking to you. Now, you guys urged me to call again, so I did. Because I called in March and I called in April, and I have both of the phone calls. Like, I have the screenshot of the day, the time, and the length of time that I was on the phone. And the first person was a woman, completely not helpful. The second person was a man. He actually took my tip. But in order to explain it further, I would have to talk to an FBI agent and say, you know, this is why I think this should be looked into. And it would be very easy to either include this person or eliminate this person based on something that could be looked up easily. But I would have to talk to an agent. Um, so you know what? We're going to take you out just because of your past behavior. Anybody see Sosa, if you're one of my mods, you just take him out immediately. We're not even going to wait for him to start slinging the harassment or start the bullying. Lady Nimue, hello. Where are you coming in from? Yeah. Uh, if we see that name, there's certain names that if we see, it's going to be trouble. It's just a matter of him trying to type it faster than I can take him out. Just, I saw you right away and you're gone. Not blocked yet, but I'm getting close to starting to block list. And for those that are new here, I'm not trying to be mean, but because this is a monetized channel now, I have to state the rules at least one time during every video. No politics, no religion, no bullying, unless you're trying to bully me, and I can handle it because I have a very thick skin, and I've heard it all since I became monetized. And definitely no arguing in the chat, and don't talk about inappropriate things, or you're just going to be gone. That's it. Now, will I block him? Depends. Probably not. I'll probably just take you out for 24 hours because I appreciate the clicks. That's why Sosa hasn't been blocked yet. I don't think you have a mod right now. If you need help, let me know. Thank you, Kathy. Ash Cash, we are adults. Yep. Well, there's been twice, Ash, that my chat and show went completely off the rails because people in the chat. And it's my channel, and as you know, I've been working at this for 5 years and 4 months, and I've got thousands of dollars into it. And now that it is remonetized, even though I'm not doing it for the money, every penny that I make, whether it's from the views, the memberships, the super chats, the super thanks, the jewels, the donations to all the links that are on the channel page, the shopping that's happened, and thank you to my prior mod Trisha, who suggested that I set up the Amazon store. Like, it's all going to help pay me back for all the expenses of the channel. And I am on a disability income, so anything that I can get will help. But that's not why I'm doing this. I'm doing this for Nancy, and I never even knew Nancy. I've never even met Savannah, but I like Savannah. I've always liked Savannah Guthrie. Thank you, Ash. But it's come time, Ash, that I've had to take charge because I had a mod and another member get into it with each other during a chat, and that will never be allowed to happen again. And no matter who's at fault, because I don't know who started what, they'll both be taken out if that ever happens again. I had a former mod from like the first time I was monetized, who came in and started bullying me like, "Oh, you missed my comment," and I kept scroll back, and I'm like, "I don't see it. We'll talk about it later." And I kept getting hammered like, "No, no, you gotta read it now. You gotta read it now." And then about 3 to 5 people in the chat started arguing like, "No, she means this," or "She said that," and I'm like, "I'm in the middle of a show, people, and I should at that point have just taken the hammer and went, 'You're out of here today.'" But I didn't, and it caused all kinds of problems, and I had to learn how to go into my back end and see all the mods that I ever had, and I had to get it down to the last 3 people, and now I'm down to 2. So, and it may at some point, I may just mod everything myself. But the mods that I have now are fantastic, and one of them's in here right now, Hearts. She is the best. And you are too, Kermudge, but I know you're very busy with your property. Hello, Jack. Sorry for my M word above. Your M word? I don't even know what that is. What did I miss? I didn't see anything bad. Oh, did I miss something, Jay? Oh, she left. I don't know who you're talking about. Sorry for my M word above. No, everything today is cool, but I did see Sosa come in here, and that means that he's going to start rapid firing the bullying. So, yeah, I took him out before he even already deleted. Not a bad word. Okay. Now, I had somebody that's been coming into my comments that is a very good supporter of my channel. Has been from the beginning, but is coming into the comments talking about things that are just so inappropriate and not anything about what we're talking about. And I had to finally, and I actually know who this person is, and I have their phone number, and I had to text them and say, "Hey, I'm sorry. I just want to let you know that I've had to delete some of these comments because you know, I've got too much at stake, Um, I can't have these things like going on in my chat or in my comment section anymore. I'm sorry. So I hope everybody understands. Hearts is getting ready for gold camp. Oh, you mean she had already left the chat? Hearts of gold? Yeah, she's the best. Oh, I see it now, Jay. Yeah. Well, sometimes I slip. Lori, welcome back. I actually had Savannah on a flight a couple of times when she was a White House correspondent before she was on the Today Show. I used to work for a charter airline and we flew the White House press. Well, that's cool, Lori. Like, um, you also mentioned the Ronnie Chasen case. I remember you. You were a flight attendant. How was she on the flight? You know, how was Savannah? She was always super kind and happy. I know of a couple. I've met a couple of people in the news industry that know her. Jane Velez Mitchell and Nancy Grace. But it's not like they're my best friends. But I have met both of them, and I know they worked with Savannah on Court TV. And then we have a member here, a simple kind of gal, but I haven't seen her lately. She is a neighbor of Miss Nancy's, and I think she said her first husband or a former husband used to be in the news, like in broadcasting, and he and Savannah worked together at the news station in Tucson when her career was just starting. So you said she was always super kind and happy. That's how I picture Nancy to be too. I just want to give Savannah a hug, and I don't even know Savannah, so I know that's totally inappropriate. But gosh, if she could walk through my door right now, I would want to consult with her, and I would have a whole list of things to talk about, like, and I'm not saying she needs to hire me. No, I'm saying that if she ever wanted to just contact me and consult with me, and if we could do it face to face, or we could do it, by Zoom or by FaceTime, where I actually knew I was really talking to Savannah, and I could say, hey, here's here's what I think, and here's what I need to know, and let me try to help you. Shoddy says, Happy Mother's Day. Peace be with all mothers. Blessed are your loving hearts. And may God fill your homes with peace and joy. Thank you. Where are you coming in from? I don't know if I've seen you before, Sade. I saw Marvin Hamlish in an airport once, not approachable. I don't think I would know who he is. I mean, I know who he is, but I don't think I would recognize him. I do too, Ash. And I know that because, like Nancy Grace, because she has worked with Savannah, and presumably they're on friendly terms. She has never said in any of her shows, as far as I know, she's never talked about the suspect angle involving the Guthrie family out of respect for Savannah, which I understand. And I do say on all of my broadcasts, and I'll say it more than once till I'm blue in the face, everybody here is innocent until proven guilty. And I have never publicly named a suspect. I have never told anybody that I know in private about suspects or who I think front porch guy could be. I'd say it's more than 50-50 that I might know who the guy is at the front door. And even if it's not him, if I were working the case, I would have to get him eliminated. Uh, Parents were big fans of his music and musicianship. Yeah, I don't know if I would recognize him. I don't think so at all. I live in California in LA, and I live in a neighborhood where there's like a lot of celebrities. So, and because of my job and working with so many celebrities and working on movies and TV shows and doing celebrity stalking cases and harassing and all kinds of cases for celebrities, I'm not the type of person that I would just like walk up and say, "Hey, how are you?" and can I have a picture? Like now, and I have a lot of friends that are celebrities, so like, but I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh my God, look at that." But I don't think it's like if somebody's eating or they're with their children or they're in a bathroom, like just leave them alone. Let them go about their day. But I can see like if you're famous, that's gonna be part of it. Like people are gonna come up to you. Maybe someday somebody will walk up to me and go, "Hey, are you April Davis PI from YouTube?" And I'll be like floored. My local drugstore the other day, I saw Snazzy Carlos, like for real. And he's big, and I was like, "Oh my God, it's Snazzy Carlos." It turns out he lives down the street from me. We live in like almost the same neighborhood. Like he lives walking distance from me. And I was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Yeah, I'm here all the time." And I'm like, "Me too." Cause this is all and I was telling him about YouTube and we chatted for about 15-20 minutes. He was a really cool guy. Um, Ash Cash says, what happened to all those gloves they found? Or no, that was Steve Johnson. Sorry, Steve. What happened to all those gloves they found? Well, there was one that they were really interested in, but it belonged to a restaurant worker. The one that they found dumped along the side of the road, it was near a restaurant. It has none of those have panned out. Having no closure would be the worst. I cannot imagine living that every day. Exactly, Ash Cash, and that's why I just want to give Savannah a hug. What about probably OJ's? I know a lot about that. That happened in Brentwood where I was working. True Crime Girl, TMZ watching everyone. Yeah, I know a few people from them as well. Kathy Maurer, you have to keep your boundaries while in the presence of celebrities. Absolutely. Ash Cash, oh my God, that case is horribly sad. Yes. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing his D4VD. How do you pronounce that guy's name? I've never, like, I mean, I know he was like a rapper or all that, but how do you pronounce that name? Is it David or is it D4VD? I don't even know. Um, Who is Maven? How often are you on? Almost every day, Brian. Maven. Who is Maven? Does anybody know how to pronounce D4VD? Is it David? You know, it's like that actor from Stranger Things, and his name is Joe. But in music, he's it's spelled DJOE, but it's still pronounced Joe. But nobody knew that that guy was the same guy from like Stranger Things, and now he's like making oodles of money on the music. Um, Brian, we can't use that word. I don't know who Maven is. And I know the case you're talking about, Ash, because it happened right here in LA. It's very bad. Very, very bad. I'm surprised he wasn't arrested sooner. Did you hear about Kristen Smart? Yeah, I heard that, like, where this happened, that they found some more evidence or something. I haven't followed that case as much. Maggie. Happy Fur Baby Mother's Day, April. Thank you, Maggie, joining from Southern Indiana after watching you for weeks. Well, welcome in, Maggie. Have you typed into the chat before? Make sure you guys give me a thumbs up. I hope you're subscribed, Maggie. Something about the ham news. I don't know what that is. That's a good question, Ash. I wonder whatever happened with the white box SUV we never heard from again. They thought maybe it was the car Nancy was in. A Soul. Yeah, Kia Soul. And it did take a back exit out of that neighborhood that if you exited in that direction, it would keep you away from some of the major intersections that had LPRs. I have always thought that was important, especially the timing, because there was only about a dozen or so vehicles that went through that area between midnight and 6 a.m. And that one was just, you know, if she was taken at 12:28, I think that car passed around 2:36, because they know when the pacemaker unsynced, and they know based on a ring camera that a neighbor had that that car came in just enough time that it would have taken to get from point A to point B. True Crime Girl, will they have a show on cable called Hollywood Scandals? And the latest, they've been talking about the boy bands. True Crime Girl, a lot of scandals and corruption, and the person that found the boy bands back then, very corrupted. Then all the stuff that went on was crazy. You're sorry for what, Brian? What am I missing? But welcome in, Maggie. I hope you've gone and seen that long form content video about the suspect list. I hope all of you guys are watching my long form content, or you can just go to the main channel page and you can look at all the playlists. Like some of you guys are interested in the pets, you know, you can see the bunnies and the kitties and all that I've had over the years. Yes, you do have to say unalive. And you know, Kathy, somebody came after me in a comment, and I can't even remember who it was. It was so unimportant, but she's like, "Can you stop saying unalive?" And I was like, "Well, obviously you don't have a YouTube channel, girl." But I didn't say that. I just went delete. Moving on. Yeah, I say words sometimes and I'm like, "Oops." There's a lot that you can't say and talk about here. And that's why I had to personally talk to somebody last night and say, "Hey, please don't be upset, but I've had to delete some of your comments lately on some of my videos because, you're talking about like really grotesque things." And she now tells me that she's going to, when she was in a clearer state of mind, she's going to read the rules today about YouTube. Well, go ahead. But while other channels say this, I don't give AF about other channels and what they say and what they do. I did this while I was still suffering from stage 3, grade 3. I was supposed to die from cancer. I have worked my behind off for 5 years and 4 months, and I'm not going to have anybody, even if it was a bestie, but my bestie doesn't even come into YouTube. But I wouldn't let anybody do anything to jeopardize my channel. I don't care what other channels do or what other YouTubers say. I respect all the other YouTubers. I'll never bash anybody, but I don't care what somebody does on their channel. I don't care what's written or not written in the rule book. If I tell you, I'm sorry, I had to remove some of these comments because we can't keep talking about this that has nothing to do with other people talk about, like, you're not seeing it. And that's why this person is no longer a mod. And if it happens just one more time, I'm going to have to remove that person, as supportive as they have been, because I'm not going to have somebody, one person, keep firing at me like, you know, no, like, this is my channel. And I don't want to sound, and then she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you're upset." And I said, "I'm not upset. I'm just, I didn't even have to tell her, like, I have to remove these comments, but I get so many comments now that I might miss some." And I'm just like, please, like, stop, you know, or going into the lives after the fact and thinking that we're all still live here, but that's from a week ago. And then there's 25 comments that I have to go through, like, I'm here, don't you see me? Like, I'm here, I can see you, I can hear you. Do you see me? Like, how come nobody's talking to me? Because you're not in a live. Like, oh my God. Or I can't find your channel. I can just see your lives when I get the notification, but I can't see your videos. Like, what? And then I'll take a picture of, like, this is my YouTube channel. This is my homepage. And then I get like, oh, I must be doing something wrong. And then, the next day happens and there's another 20 to 35 comments. They're like, I'm here, I'm here. Like, everybody, this is live, right? Like, are we live? Like, oh, well, maybe we're not. I'm like, I'm beginning to wonder if everything is all right with this person. And it makes me sad. It just makes me sad. Um, so if I have to remove somebody, even if it's just for 24 hours, please be understanding that I am now the captain of this ship. And, most of you guys, 99% of you guys are so lovely. You've become like family. I love you all. But if, somebody starts being inappropriate, they start arguing with other people or they start bullying anybody, I just have to take them out. Um, if somebody makes a remark about a certain race or a certain gender, uh, no, like, you're out of here. Everybody, what I'm saying is, as Rodney King would say, can't we all just get along? Uh, let's see. Uh, everyone slips occasionally. Yeah, I do. And I've said some bad words and I'm like, oops, I realize, oh, I'm on YouTube. Goddess, witches are not evil, love, acceptance, and kindness. I don't know anything about that. Um, I didn't say you used a bad word. I didn't even see it. Somebody else said you said a bad word. I didn't see it. True crime girl. Well, that is what I think is strange. The family hired a private investigator, but never did hear any more, and it's weird. You mean about Nancy or about a different case? Kathy Mowry, goddess, I am Christian. We don't believe in craft. True crime girl. And now heard that somebody from England is coming over to see if they can solve the case. Some private detective. He's doing the services free of charge. Are we, once again, true crime girl, are we talking about the Nancy Guthrie case? You got stage what? I had stage 3, grade 3 breast cancer video gamer. Um, It won't be your channel for long. Oh gosh. No, I'm not trying to delete your message. I'm trying to take you out. Um, this is your channel, and I know several weeks ago something that was one of your moderators blocked one of your supporters. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a different incident. Like, and then that supporter who has helped me more than anybody on my channel, and I don't even know her. Trisha, if you're out there, I miss you. I miss you, gal. Like, she got into an argument with somebody. I don't even remember who it was. I don't know who started it. And then that night she was like, I no longer want to be your, your moderator. And she never came back. And everybody's like, hey, where is she? Where's Trisha? And I'm like, that's why I don't care who you are. I don't care if you've been watching since day one. If, and somebody who'd been watching for years, watching my channel, even before it was monetized, started gunning for me during a live, like, hey, back up and scroll backwards and just kept, and I'm like, I'm right in the middle of people are here. There's like 1,000 people watching this video to talk about Nancy Guthrie. Just shut the F up, you know? And now there's comments about stuff I can't even talk about, or I could get demonetized. Just telling you, like last night, I was just like I was at my boiling point. Um, you know, if other channels talk about gross stuff, then go watch those other channels. We're here to talk about whatever the subject of the day is, and we're going to stick to that. And I don't mind people asking me questions because people want to get to know me. I want to get to know you guys. I say, hey, where are you coming in from? Or how's the weather, in Toronto tonight? Or how long have you been watching my channel? Or, but we have to stay, the train has to stay on the track. And I just can't be, is there a Mrs. Nice Guy? They used to say Mr. Nice Guy. I can't do that. I'm not going to, I don't have a mean bone in my body, but I am a leader. I'm not a follower, and I have to have control of my own channel. And there's so many people watching now. I'm getting like, 50,000 views or something, 50, 60,000 views a month, which isn't huge, but it's a lot when you're trying to answer all those comments. And I have the same garbage coming in every single day. Like, I'm on the live right now. How come nobody's talking to me? Or I can see you, I can hear you. Can anybody see me? Like, is this live or is my brain not like, oh, no, like, just stop, please, please. I know I'm going to lose a viewer over this, but I can't keep up with it. I'm in the bed in the middle of the night, just going, delete, 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 delete. Like, I like, okay, I give up, you know, here's my lives, and here are my playbacks on my lives, and here are my videos under my video tab. Some people don't understand when they replay the live that they can't see the chat. That's because YouTube takes 24 to 48 hours to re-upload the chat. So if you don't see that super thanks tab on a replay, that means that they haven't completely processed it yet. And that is a very good question because a lot of people, they don't understand that. Like, I can't see the chat and I want to watch the chat too while I watch the replay of the live. So just, if you want to see the chat when you're watching the replay of the live, just give it a day or two and it'll process. True Crime Girl. That's right. This is your channel. And I know several weeks ago something that was, oh yeah, we already said that one of your moderators blocked one of your supporters. Yeah, somebody just went off the rails. That's just not going to be allowed anymore. Um, Video, is that a threat against our channel? We personally love April. Thank you, Kathy. I love you too, Kathy. You have been one of the biggest supporters. You're correct. Several weeks ago when I was one of your moderators was trying to block somebody and it was crazy. Yeah. And you know what? After that, I had to go to the back end. I had to research how to do it. I didn't even know how to do it. I had to go to the back end. And I saw mods there that I didn't even know who they were. Like, because I had briefly been monetized in 2024 and early 2025, and there were still some mods that were from way back then. And then I was just like, okay, this is out of control. And I was just like, delete, 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 delete. And I had it down to three. And then one of those people got upset with not me, but with somebody else. And now I guess it's my fault. Like, no, none of this will be allowed to take place anymore. It just won't happen. And I have to say that happily, the channel is growing. It's still a very small YouTube channel, but for me, when I thought I would never even hit 1,000, and then it took how many years to hit 2,000, and now I'm already at 2821. I think if it keeps going at this pace, that I may actually hit 3,000 subs um, by the end of this month. So think about that. Like, when is Memorial Day? What I haven't looked at the calendar yet. I live by myself, so I don't celebrate a lot of holidays. But maybe by Memorial Day, we can be throwing a 3,000 sub party on here. And if anybody has any ideas how I should do that, let me know. Um, April, take a look at video's comments. Okay, who is video? Um, I don't know who that is. I don't see anybody with that username. Don't see anybody with that username. Oh. Oh, you mean this video's comments? Yeah, I wouldn't be able to see that now because I'm actually recording this, but I will take a look at those comments. If did somebody do something inappropriate? I can't see it during the live, but I will take a look. Thank you, Kathy. I was like, whose video? You mean this video? Is that what you mean? Take a look at this video's comments? I can do that after the live. Um, most of this is funny though, I have to say. Um, oh gosh, I missed it last night. I'm glad April is in charge. Me too, true crime girl. And thank you for all you did, Sandy. That birthday stuff, that meant so much to me. Like that'll probably never happen again in my lifetime, and I'll always remember that. That's why I've kept every single card. Um, you watched TV last night, didn't even see notification. Yeah, sometimes YouTube doesn't always send them, but I know you guys can't be here all the time. Um, Why can't people behave themselves? Exactly, Brian. I mean, it's just that one person, and I feel so bad because I consider her a personal friend, but like I just can't be having all these inappropriate comments that, and I can't have somebody yelling at me in my chat like, hey, hey, back up, back up, back up, and no, do what I say, and like uh, and start like just deleting people. Like I was, I'm still haven't recovered from that. Um, Yeah, 2821. Can you believe it, Kathy? Like, I know a big YouTuber would laugh at that, but for me, like, I just started this channel to document my life after breast cancer because they give you the 2-year survival mark, and then they give you the 5-year survival mark, but they don't really talk about what's going to happen to you beyond that 5 years. Like, nobody's going to live forever, and something's going to take us all out, but they don't talk about that when the treatment is over, depending on what stage you were in, what grade it was, what size the tumor, where it was located, how it responded to treatment, they don't tell you that you may be disabled for the rest of your life because of the horrible side effects from what you went through. And that, you'll be fighting other ailments that are related to the treatment thereof. Like every situation is different. So for me, I just wanted to document my life. I used to film all the time in my career, but I would film like, bad guys and criminals and things like that. Um, the guy said you wouldn't have your channel. Oh, yeah, I'm not worried about it. I already nailed him. Yep, I did. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate you. You are watching Fire Country now. It's good. I don't even know what that is. Is that a TV show? Or is that a YouTube channel? Hey, we're doing this 95 minutes, and I only meant to go like a few minutes today. So you guys got like 2 or 3 minutes. Oh, wow, Kathy, your sister passed because of chemo at age 34. Yeah, at one point, my blood cell count, my white cell count was down to a 1. But that wasn't the closest to death that I got. The closest to death that I got was because of the heart. Phil Collins says, I love cacti and mountains. Yeah, this is the Tucson background because we are talking about Nancy Guthrie. Oh, Kathy says it's a Netflix show. Yeah, I only had Netflix temporarily just so I could see my friend's granddaughter's new show. And it skyrocketed. And now that little girl is going to be a big star. Well, she already is now. Um, it's amazing. Somebody that's never done a gig, an acting gig their whole career, and then just one job, and they're immediately mega famous. Um, Live in Memphis says May 25th is Memorial Day. Oh, it's on the 25th, and the guy's birthday in Portland. Yeah, I know that. I have that written down. But hello, Live in Memphis. I spent some time in Tucson and Catalina. It was beautiful. Oh, wow. Oh my gosh, Kathy. She had her last chemo on a Friday and her heart exploded on Saturday night. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's the heart thing that's almost taken me out many, many, many times. And I still deal with it every day. I mean, um, my AFib's okay right now, but my surgeries don't last for very long. And then my heart it has double beats and skip beats like 24 hours a day. Um, Phil says his brother is DEAD. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Phil. Um, yeah, I try not to talk about it, but the reason I started was to be able to document my life since that. And that's not what this channel is about. But now that it's turned into what it's turned into, and all of a sudden I went very quickly, um, it just the last 3 months, it's just kind of like gone up. I've had to learn to take control. Never thought I would even have these issues. My channel is growing. Exactly, Phil. We all die, don't live in fear. One of my besties, who was one of the healthiest people I've ever met in my life, actually passed quite quickly after I met her, and she helped me a lot. Um, like when I was in radiation and kind of just lifted my spirit. And, nobody expected that. And it's been the hardest thing I've ever had to deal with. And I know that one day when my time is up, she's going to be the one reaching her hand out, pulling me over to the other side. Um, yeah, we're all here just for a bleep in time. Um, Quentin, welcome in, Quentin. Thank you, April, for running channel fairly and evenly and being nice. Well, I hope so. But yesterday when I tried to say to somebody by text, like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have to say I'm sorry, but I'm sorry, but I had to remove some of your comments because, YouTube is not going to allow this and it could get me demonetized. And, please don't do anything to risk my channel. Once again, I was attacked like, oh, but other YouTubers say that, or other YouTubers do this. And when I feel better tomorrow, I'm going to reach the channel rules. I'm going to read them. Go ahead. That's not going to change anything here. That's the last time I'm going to say it. And if it happens one more time, God forbid that I will have to pull out that block button on one of my supporters, one of my biggest channel supporters. And I've only had to block one person in my life, and it was a female who I think was harassing the channel from the inside of a mental hospital. And I'm like, whoa, I can't have that. Um, Bill Collins says, I really hate insurance companies and pretty much the whole medical system. I do like the doctors and nurses. Exactly. I feel the same way, Phil. Quentin, she is a soldier of her channel. I just, I wouldn't have made it this far in my life, especially being out on my own since I was 18. And I've never been married. I've never been financially supported by a boyfriend. Like I've had long-term boyfriends, but I've never been supported by them. I've done everything myself. I live in one of the most expensive cities in the world. How I've managed to keep a roof still over my head with the rent going sky high. And, it's at some point, if I live long enough, I won't have this roof over my head anymore because I won't be able to live just off my disability. So if this channel can even put some groceries in my refrigerator and, food in the bellies of my fur babies, like if you do something to F that up for me, I will come after you. I know the legal system. I would hate to think that I would have to sue somebody, but God forbid. I've never sued anybody in my life, but I can't have somebody constantly coming in and, firing at me and just being inappropriate. It's just not going to happen. And I don't want to hurt the feelings of the other mods that are here to be supportive and to do a wonderful job on my YouTube channel. Uh, most of them have not reached monetization. Yeah, I used to have when I got it the first time, I did a video about that and I looked at the percentages of, how many people reach 1,000, how many people reach monetization, how many people that do reach monetization make as little as a penny. Um, Now, for me to have made it and then lost it and have to rebuild it and get it twice, and I'm so many days now away or weeks away from that first check, like I won't risk anything. And I know YouTube is watching, and I hope they are, and I hope that, they've been very supportive, like, "Oh, you've done very well," and, people are really liking your content on Nancy Guthrie, like, they've been very supportive. I love YouTube, and I was never mad at them the first time, when I got demonetized. I wish they would have told me more, and I wouldn't have deleted so many of my videos, because I really miss there's a few videos I really miss, especially now with what came out on Friday with the disclosure day. Like, I wish I'd had a really long video that was a long form content and it was all about like aliens in Las Vegas. And it was actually really good. Like people really liked it. But when that first demonetization happened, that was one of the videos that I just went and I just took them down and then I lost all my views and my watch hours and it took me more than a year to get it all back and put it back together again. Phil Collins says, "Who is Nancy Guthrie?" That is the 84-year-old mother of Today co-host Savannah Guthrie, who was kidnapped from her home in the early morning hours of February 1st, 2026. Quentin Broom, some people don't know how to play second fiddle. That's a good statement, Quentin. Yes, Savannah's mom. And you know what? I forgot to mention this earlier when we were actually talking about Nancy and Savannah. Has anybody here followed Savannah's Instagram? Yeah, she put up a story or a reel today, and it was all about her mom, because it's Mother's Day. And if you guys haven't seen it, I'd love to be able to show it, but I can't use shared content, um, so I won't share that. But if you guys haven't seen Savannah's reel today regarding a tribute to her mother, um, you guys should go do that. It just it touched my heart. Yeah, it's really good. Poor Savannah. At least she has her children to celebrate with today. I hope that's going well for her. Um, yeah, where are you from, Phil Collins? Are you in the United States? Or are you in another country? Brian says you're doing a good job. Thank you. I'm trying, Brian. YouTube has never been easy. I'm not a creative type. That's why I'll never worry that I'll get so big, like, oh my God, I'll be so big. And like, no, I'm not a creative type. You're in the USA. You haven't heard about the Nancy Guthrie case? The kidnapping in Tucson? Well, they're calling it a kidnapping, but let's just say the disappearance of 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie. Oh, you live in a camper. Well, maybe you don't see much news. If you want, you can go back to my homepage and go to the Nancy Guthrie playlist, and you can see everything that's happened from February the 2nd on. You try not to watch the news. Okay, I was gonna ask 'cause yeah, it's been the biggest story in the country. Yeah, it's a very sad situation, and at this point, I'm just hoping that they find her. I don't think she's alive. I would love to be wrong, but with her condition, her age, I don't think she's alive, and I want her to be found so the family will have some sort of closure, and I want whoever is involved, whether it's, somebody they don't know, or it's a close associate, a friend, a family, a neighbor, a coworker, even if it's somebody targeting Savannah, I want them to find out who did this. I hope that it is a group so that the first person will then roll, the first person to be arrested will roll on everybody else, and they'll all, you know, be convicted. They'll all be found guilty, and they'll spend the rest of their miserable lives rotting behind bars. Um, if I knew where to get some honesty, I would pay attention. Well, you can always watch my YouTube. It's I'm a straight shooter, Phil. So thank you for coming in, though, and everybody, thank you for coming. I love you all. Thank you for the person. I'll have to go back to see who it was. Somebody had sent me a super chat at the beginning of the show. Thank you so much. And feel free to watch those other videos. Make sure you see the video regarding the suspect list. Oh, and I also forgot to mention this is something totally unrelated to the case. I am a member of an online selling platform called Whatnot, and I haven't had a show in a very, very long time. And I'm thinking of having a show later this week, sometime, this coming work week. So if you guys are not already signed up to that, go to the link that's in my channel description, and they'll give you $15 spending money to spend in any store that you want on their platform. I just wanted to remind you in case I go live because a lot of times I'll multicast, and if some of you guys that are watching true crime come in and you're like, "What is this?" It's my whatnot, and you won't be able to participate. You can watch it in the multicast, but you won't be able to participate in the show unless you're actually signed up for the app. So if you haven't signed up, make sure you use my code so that you can get the $15. Kathy says, bye, April. Quentin, maybe captors wanted money quickly or else not have to care for her. Threatened, so in letters, no money equals buy. Exactly. Thank you, Phil. Oh, she's a kind woman, Phil. Who, Nancy or me? Thank you either way, Kathy. Um, okay, just wanted to say that about Whatnot. I haven't decided for sure, but I may be doing like just get rid of my inventory and like a $2 or $3 start auction. There's baseball cards, there's jewelry, there's all kinds of little knickknack stickers, channel stickers, just things like that. Oh, thank you, Kathy. I appreciate you. You've really helped me out today. And have a good Mother's Day, whatever's left of it, wherever you're watching from. And I think I'm going to go make myself something to eat. See ya.